Hi everyone, it's Melissa and welcome to Bookcast 7. We're at 7 now. And ironically, we're still talking about Harry Potter. And today we're talking about Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, I usually said originally in my last video that I'll try to split the Harry Potter books into try to talk about two Harry Potter books in one video. Unfortunately, there are a lot of plot points in Prisoner of Azkaban and the other books I feel that it's important for me to tell you that I feel will be more comfortable for me to talk about for right now all the books individually in one video. So in this video, we're talking about Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And of course, the Prisoner of Azkaban. So what's the plot? Harry goes back to Hogwarts after accidentally blowing up his aunt. It's a spoiler in the beginning of the book, which I am not going to give to you. So, he accidentally blows up his aunt, and he fears he's not going to go to Hogwarts because it's illegal for wizards underage to do magic. So but Harry finds out on his way to some kind of a wizard hotel, the Wizarding Hotel, that there's on his way there to like a wizard place where he'll be staying until it's time to go leave for Hogwarts, that a prisoner known as Sirius Black escaped from Azkaban. And Azkaban is a horrible place. It's basically a building, an island, surrounded by water, and a lot of Dementors. Dementors are basically like a creature that can suck the happiness and soul out of you. And you feel nothing, like you never feel cheerful. You're not gonna be happy again. And it's surrounded with it. And if you get the Dementor's kiss, you basically become a vegetated state until you die. And unfortunately, and Harry is horrified when he finds this out about Azkaban. But horrified about Sirius Black, especially when he finds out that he worked for Lord Voldemort. And now he's freaking out, he's afraid, and he doesn't know why everybody's so protective of him. Whenever McGonagall is protective of him, Dumbledore, and of course he finds this out. But he soon calmed down when he meets Ron and Hermione, and when Ron talks about his big family trip to Egypt to visit his brother Charlie, and he brings along his pet, his rat Scabbers, and Hermione brings her new cat, Crookshanks. And Crookshanks tries to attack the mouse, a mouse or rat, and Ron's not happy with it, and of course, Hermione and Ron start fighting over this. The fighting actually could be a little bit of foreshadowing what happens in the future for Ron and Hermione, but we'll get to that when we get to that. When Harry and Ron and Hermione are on the train to Hogwarts, they meet Professor R.J. Lupin. And Lupin is actually the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Ever since Gilderoy Lockhart basically lost his memory in the last book, Chamber of Secrets, and they need a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. And it turns out that Lupin actually knew Harry's father. They're actually pretty good friends. And a mentor looking for Sirius Black goes into their part of the train and attacks Harry. But Lupin manages to save their lives and comforts Harry while he talks to the driver to find out what's going on. Why did the Dementors come on the train to look for Sirius Black? And of course, the reason why is because Sirius Black may be after Harry. And of course, when people found out about the Dementors, they're freaking out, and Sirius Black, Dumbledore reminds everyone that we'll be fine, we'll be okay, we have new security measures at Hogwarts, and people are really freaking, the students are freaking out, and Draco Malfoy, being the typical bully, teases Harry about almost being killed by a Dementor. The bully that he is. But Harry is really upset after he finds out that he won't be able to go to Hogsmeade. Hogsmeade is basically a town in the Wizarding World where you can visit shops and go visit shops, have lunch outside with your friends. And Harry can't go because he doesn't have a permission slip signed. He wanted to get it signed by Petunia, by his aunt and uncle, but blowing up the aunt didn't really help that out in his favor. Hopes of them getting it signed. So Harry's upset. He gets to know Professor Lupin. Professor Lupin is is a very fun teacher. He understands everything, and he actually introduced a boggart to the class, and this was really fun. When he introduced everybody's boggarts, they transform into something you fear, but no one knows what they look like. The mission is so terrifying. When they see a person, it transforms what they fear the most. The only thing that can stop a boggart is saying the spell ridiculous. And by saying the word ridiculous, it transforms into something funny, something unique as a result. And so everybody's finding, but Harry's is a Dementor. And the minute the Boggart transforms into a Dementor for Harry's turn to say the spell ridiculous, Lupin stops the whole project down and puts the Boggart back into its cage or some sort, and it's insane. And of course, it's really upsetting. And everybody got kicked out of it too when Neville transformed his nightmare professor Snape, like the cold-hearted Potion Masters, into the clothing that his grandmother wears, and everybody laughed about that. But of course, Harry, being the buzzkill, had to stop the assignment. He then asks Lupin what a mentor is, and of course, he's like, well, he explained what a mentor is and how to defeat it. Harry wants Lupin to teach him how to use Expecto Patronum. Basically, a Patronus is a spell that's conjured by your happiest memory, and that spell conjures up into an animal. For Harry's case, it becomes more important later on in the story. When Lupin, but ironically, Snape teaches Potion Masters so far for once a week, and eventually students start to freak out. What freaks out for Harry and Ron, is the fact that Hermione's taking so many classes this semester, and they're realizing that usually when one class is where she's supposed to be at, she's with them, and say for example she's supposed to be in potions, but in reality she's in Defense Against the Dark Arts. And it's like, I've always been here, but she just suddenly showed up. It's like, what's going on? How is Hermione taking so many classes? It's freaky. More importantly, when they meet another teacher, Professor Trelawney, who basically teaches a class that you can see into the future, she predicts the Grim. And Harry admits that something horrible is about to come to him, and everybody thinks Sirius Black, especially when they found out that Sirius Black is getting closer to Hogwarts. And during a Quidditch match, when they're going after the Snitch, the same time as with Cedric Diggory, a Dementor goes after Harry, and he falls off his broom. Dumbledore does a spell to save Harry's life, and then angrily casts him away, and he's furious, and he's contacting the guards and asking me, what happened, how is this happened, why are the Dementors after Harry, what's going on, this doesn't make any sense. And Harry got his new broom. Unfortunately for Harry, for some reason he gets a brand new broom, and it's signed by Sirius Black. He finds out that Sirius Black is actually his godfather. And he was the one who supposedly told Harry where Harry's parents were to Voldemort that got him killed. And Harry is furious, and he said, I hope he finds me, I'm going to kill him. And then when Harry tries to sneak into the Hogsmeade by using his father's invisibility cloak that he'd gotten for Christmas a couple years earlier in the first book, Fred and George, Ron's twin older brothers, give him the Marauder's Map, a map that shows the secret passageway to get around Hogwarts and even to Hogsmeade. And the only way to do that is, I have to do is say, I solemnly swear I'm up to no good, and point it to the map with your wand, and that opens up the map. And when you want to close it, it says mischief managed. And that way the map gets closed. And when Snape finds out he has the map, he is really upset about this. But luckily for Harry, this gives him the two items that will be very important to him later on. The Marauder's Map and the Invisibility Cloak. Both of them which become very important later on in the series. Especially when he pranks Draco Malfoy. After finding out about Sirius Black, he's really upset. And so Lupin teaches him how to use the Patronum. And while all this is happening, Harry's another figure for Harry, Hagrid, is having a tough time. When Hagrid early on in the book was being promoted to a new teacher class at Hogwarts, Draco got hurt because he got hurt by his pet hippogriff. Draco's father got upset, and as a result of the trial that took place, his poor hippogriff Buckbeak's been sentenced to death. And of course Harry's really devastated about this. He doesn't want this to happen. And so when they are witnessing from afar after Hermione punches Draco or slaps Draco, I'm like, yeah, you're like, yeah, he deserved it. What happened was that for some reason the rat runs away, and it turns out that they have a dog that drags Ron and Hermione away from them underneath a tree. Ron and Hermione manage to get into the tree and realize the dog is Sirius Black, and they're in the Shrieking Shack, a place that's supposed to be extremely haunted. because they hear screams and moanings across the side. But it turns out Lupin knew about Sirius Black, and Hermione confronts him because you're his friend. Because you're his friend, and he said that Lupin's a werewolf. That explains why he's away for 1 month at a time. Because Snape, at one point when he's teaching the class, talked about werewolves. In the weeks that Hermione notices that he's been missing classes, or the week when the full moon's about to rise. And he said that he did not betray, and Sirius said, I did not betray him. It was actually Peter Pettigrew who did. Peter Pettigrew, and with a spell that Lupin and Sirius did, their supposed friend turns out to be Scabbers the Rat. He framed Sirius, transformed himself to a rat to escape the Death Eaters and Dementors that will be after him. And so they confront him, and then Snape comes around. Snape, of course, Snape comes and is quickly taken down by Harry, and everyone's shocked that he did this. Their goal is to get Peter Pettigrew out so he can confess what he did to free Sirius's name. But sadly, this never happened because then the full moon rises, and the next thing you knew, when the full moon rises, Lupin transforms into a werewolf, and a werewolf he can't control. Sirius has to transform into a dog to save the kids from the werewolf, while Snape is down trying to protect the kids. So of course everybody's freaking out. Ron's injured, Peter Pettigrew's escaped as a result of the chaos with the werewolf, and Sirius Black is going to be sent back to Azkaban, most likely to death. But then Dumbledore says to Harry and Hermione, do your cards right, 2 lives can't be saved. And as a result, Hermione puts on a necklace, a time turner, and he takes Harry to go back to the beginning of the day when they're about to go to back to the Shrieking Shack. It turns out Hermione's using a time turner to go back in time so she could take her multiple classes. Time travel plays a big part. Hermione basically saves the day. They also save Hagrid's Hippogriff after Harry does Expecto Patronum to save Sirius from the Dementors. He does Expecto Patronum and saves Sirius's life. They also save Buckbeak from execution by seeking him away, and they give him to Sirius so that he could escape on a hippogriff and go into hiding. That is basically Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. There are some plot points that I missed, but that's basically the rundown of what happens in the book. Read the book in more detail if you have to. That's all I have time today. Bye!